Hello everyone and welcome back to another day of Road to VGC Worlds 2016. Now, today I'm going to be showing you my top 8 match from the Midseason Showdown. I managed to go 6-1 in Swiss on that day, only dropping a game on round 2 and the rest I won all rounds. So for top 8 I was, I believe, second seed, so I was paired up against Gonzer, and his real name is Lisandro or Lysander, so that's a pretty cool coincidence. And yeah, let's review how the battle goes. I go with my trusted 4 Pokemon, Cernias and Smirgolid, with Kangaskhan and Yveltal as backup. And I think this team has a lot of advantages against double primals. So he leads Kangaskhan and Groudon, which I'm not too scared of, but I'm definitely not too confident either, because they're both physical threats, which Geomancy's special attack boost doesn't really help me out. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. Now, he does choose to Mega Evolve on the first turn, which there's obviously no reason not to. And it's been a while since this battle, so I don't remember exactly what happened, but I believe I did go for the safe double protect and protect and spiky shield in order to prevent any fake out wrong predictions, because as you can see the fake out did go into Cernias and he does go for the Precipice Blades. So at this point I figure he's really afraid of Smeargle, so he's gonna target it directly. There's no need for me to use Follow Me, so I'm gonna use White Guard in order to protect my Cernias from the incoming Precipice Blades. He goes for a low kick, knocks out my Smeargle, but I get off a free Geomancy unless he goes for a Fire Punch, but I don't think he has any reason to go for that. Precipice Blades is the stronger move by far. Well, not by far actually, because Precipice Blade single target is an 180 base power move, and Fire Punch with Stab and the Sun is an 150 base power move. So yeah, he does go for the Fire Punch, predicting my White Card. At this point in the tournament, I think a lot of people have scouted my team and they realize the kind of Smeargle I do have. But here, I really doubt his Kangaskhan has Protect, so I'm gonna go for a safe Fake Out onto the Groudon, which he does expect, but I'm just gonna go for a Moonblast onto Kangaskhan and make sure I do KO it. He gets some chip damage off of Sucker Punch onto my Cernias, but nothing too significant. I don't think that damage will change like a Precipice Blades damage roll or potentially Origin Pulse in the back or anything like that. So this turn plays out like pretty predictably. There weren't any real plays I could have done, and he actually brings in Talonflame. So I am scared of the Brave Bird, but because I do have Yveltal in the back, I'm not too scared, and I predict his Brave Bird onto my Kangaskhan, predicting my Protect. So I know he knows that Kangaskhan is the real threat, but to me, his Talonflame is also the real threat, so I decide to double target the Groudon with a... oh, never mind. I actually target with a double edge the Talonflame and I go for a Moonblast onto Groudon, but a single Precipice Blades would be able to take me down. So I would be down 2-1 at this point. Things are definitely not looking too great. But I know my Yveltal will outspeed 100% of the time both of his primals, and his Groudon is at pretty low HP. So unfortunately he will have the Rain Up, which means a lot of damage off of Water Spouts and Origin Pulses. But there's not much I can do at this point. So I don't like my odds here. I mean, I know I will outspeed and I do have Snarl, which I'm hoping will be enough to KO the Groudon based on the Moonblast damage, and it is enough. So I lower the Kyogre's HP, I lower its special attack, and he actually has Thunder here, so I'm really hoping he doesn't paralyze me, which fortunately he doesn't, and thanks to the special attack drop and my assault vest, the Thunder is like a 4-hit KO at this point. I drop his special attack once more, making so Thunder does even less damage, but he gets the paralysis here. So he goes for an Urgent Pulse now, realizing that it actually does the exact same damage, and I managed to survive here. So that was really lucky. Dark Pulse is not enough. So here I'm pretty thankful that I am timid and I click Sucker Punch, but I somehow managed the KO. That probably was a super high damage roll. And Kyogre's special attack or special defense is higher than its defense. So honestly, I was really surprised. Like after the paralysis, I was like, well, yeah, there's no way I'm going to win this. So I'm just gonna click Sucker Punch and see what happens. And I got the KO. Like I was really surprised at that point. So I managed to win game 1, and I'm going to show you the next game. 2W, just give me 1 second while I input the code. And E7-3Y. Okay, yep, that's correct. So that was game 1. His prediction of the white guard was definitely really good, and I figured he would try to counter my Xerneas Smeargle lead once again. So yeah, that's the problem with like smaller, well, not smaller because it was a mid-season showdown, but the problem of being at the top, like people start asking about your team and things like that. So it's a bit unfortunate that he knew I had the white guard and correctly predicted the fire punch, or maybe he just didn't want to risk the miss. Not entirely sure, only he knows if he knew I had white guard, but it was definitely the right move for him at that point. Now I do lead Kangaskhan Yveltal, hoping to counter a bit his Groudon, because I was definitely, I think Kyogre, or I mean Xerneas would have done better in the late game from the previous game. Like that's how I adapted my playstyle. So we both Mega Evolve, he goes first, so I know we are both going to tie for this fake out, but I win the speed tie, which is definitely very lucky. And I go for a Dark Pulse, also on his Kangaskhan, because I feel like that's a bigger threat. He goes for a Fire Punch onto my Yveltal, as he recognizes Yveltal is the bigger threat. And he goes for a Sucker Punch, not wanting to risk the speed tie and getting powered up by my Dark Aura. But I decide to target the Groudon with a Double Edge. I feel like that's a much bigger threat to me right now. Leaving it weakened definitely helps me against with my Xerneas. And Snarl manages to pick up the KO on Kangaskhan, but it doesn't pick up the KO onto Groudon. And he targets me with a Fire Punch once again, but he actually goes for Kangaskhan instead. So I don't know if he predicted a Protect or he really wanted to get rid of Kangaskhan. But at this point, I'm feeling alright because I still have Smeargle and because I still have Xerneas. So I go for the Follow Me to change the direction of the potential Brave Bird. There's the Brave Bird, and I believe I go for a Snarl here in order to try and make sure I KO the Groudon and get a lot of damage off onto that Talonflame. Yeah, I do go for the Snarl, but I actually missed the Talonflame. So that was really unfortunate, I think, and made this battle a lot more complicated than it should have been. And yeah, I get a Moody Boost for attack, doesn't really matter. My evasiveness falls, doesn't really matter either. And Kyogre is his last Pokemon. So, I think the plays here are quite obvious. I'm going to Follow Me, I'm going to Snarl and things like that. Talonflame is definitely a threat here, but as long as I can KO it, I should be fine. He actually protects though, so I Follow Me, but he's going to get off a lot of damage this turn, and I actually went for the Dark Pulse onto Talonflame. So that was definitely a mistake. He KOs my Smeargle, but he actually, well, yeah, my Yveltal survives. But now I have no redirection for that Cernia, so that Protect really caught me off guard because Talonflames usually don't carry Protect. So the Brave Bird does manage to KO my Yveltal. He will take a lot of recoil damage, and I'm hoping that's enough for Dazzling Gleam to get a KO onto Talonflame, which it is, thankfully. So now it's a Kyogre against Cernias. I think I got the critical hit onto Kyogre, not entirely sure, but I managed to dodge the Origin Pull, so that was definitely very, very lucky for me. I decided to Geomancy because 2 Moonblasts is the same as 1 Moonblast off of a Geomancy, but the boost in my special defense will definitely help me out to finish off this battle, and I know I will take the Origin Pulses a lot better. He goes for Origin Pulse and he misses again, so that pretty much puts a nail in the coffin in his hopes to beat me. He survives the Moonblast and he correctly goes for Thunder in order to try and get some paralysis hacks. That was definitely his best play, and he does manage to paralyze me. So now he once again goes for the Origin Pulse, his most powerful attack. Does connect finally, but I don't get fully paralyzed. So I managed to KO Kyogre. Once again, I think it was his battle to win, most likely, but I got really lucky that he missed the Origin Pulse in the end. But I think if the Snarl had connected onto a Talonflame, it would have been, I don't know, it might have been something different. And if I had gone for Snarl instead of Dark Pulse that turn, that was definitely not ideal, but that Protect definitely caught me off guard. And yeah, that's the top 8 match for you guys. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you learned something. I hope you're enjoying. And if you want to see more of the Midseason Showdown and how I got second place at this tournament, you can come back tomorrow to watch the top 4 match, which I will assure you was definitely very interesting, very close, and really showcases, I guess, some of the issues that people don't like about VGC 16 currently. And yeah, that's pretty much it. The battle will be narrated in Spanish, but as you can see, the video and how the battle plays out does appear in English, so you can check that out and understand 100% what is going on. And yeah, that will be all for today, guys. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you tomorrow or next week in more Road to VGC Worlds 2016. Thank you, guys, and bye-bye.